to the Unstoppable Pursuit podcast, where we're pushing the limits in business, life, and health. It's episode 47, and today we're talking about decisions. My name's Brian Benson. Next to me, well, he once ate a banana standing over his camp counselor when he was 7, Mike Stahl. And he wrote a book called Dominate Your Day, and he is going to dominate your day right now.
All right, here we go. If you have been self-loathing lately, stop. Understand that you can change that immediately. We all go through trials and tribulations in life, but that is life. But they are not permanent, and you have the power to overcome them. Life is too short to get caught up in things that come and go. We can learn from them, grow, and move on. Weeks from now, you're going to look back and wish that you never spent that time loathing over them in the first place. You realize it may have been something small and petty. So remember this the next time something comes your way and knocks you off your feet. Remember that you will get up, you will learn, and you will move on. You always have. Life goes on, and you are going to be a badass, people. I didn't write that part at the end, but I just felt like adding it in.
We got jacked up. He read it at the end. That improv is sick, bro. That impromptu. All right, let's do this. You want to get into this first part, Mike?
Yes. So we came up with this episode, Decisions, because I just got to thinking, like, you know, I wanted to come up with two drastically different situations and kind of put our little spin on it, on what we would do, given what we know now and where we're at currently. So I wrote, life is full of decisions, big and small, important and not important. What would you choose from the list below and why? Knowing what you know now, make the decision and back it up. So Brian and I are going to do that right now. So we asked you this question. If you had to choose now, which one, and explain why? And the first one is, and I thought of this a while ago, is what would we do, what would we recommend to people watching and listening if someone said, well, should I go to college, a 4-year college, or should I go to trade school / entrepreneurship? What's your spin on this? Is it a waste of money and time? What to think versus how to think?
You know, I see pluses and minuses to both. I think that if you're going to become, it depends on what you want to be. If you want to become a doctor, an accountant, a lawyer, then you got to go to college.
Traditional
you just
job.
have to. Yeah, if you want a traditional job. I believe that you should immediately go into doing something that you want. That's why, like, become an apprentice or just start working or interning immediately. I don't think for what I do now, I would be a lot further ahead if I didn't go to traditional college. Because I studied communications, which is such a broad topic, which now, yes, I'm using it to a degree, but like I could imagine if I started this podcast then, I'd be on a private jet right now and I wouldn't have to be sitting here with Mike. Or we'd be doing it from the private jet.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
That's the idea, is that I think there's two ways to look at it. But I also think, like, sometimes people just aren't ready for the real world and need that buffer of time in their late teens, early 20s to let loose, get away from mom and dad, learn how to be on your own, learn how to be independent. I totally think that's what college really lends itself to, is allowing you to grow up a little bit. But I think that if you're just talking about career-wise and crushing it and wanting it, I know more people who did not go to school that are really successful than people who did go to school.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of 50-50 too, because when I look back on college, and for those that are watching and listening, if you don't know, Brian and I both went to Heidelberg University. We probably partied together at the same party house. We did not know each other in college. We probably passed each other hundreds of times on the sidewalk and we didn't even know. So it's kind of funny that we linked up now. But I look back on college and I'm like, dude, I had an awesome time in college. I did enjoy going to Heidelberg. I had a great time. I played 2 years of basketball. You know, do I feel that I am using my college education right now? I don't know if I truly feel that. Like I kind of get mad because, and maybe they offered these classes at Heidelberg, but I was not taught how to invest. I was not taught about the stock market or anything like that. I wish that I would have been taught how to invest in the real estate market too. stuff like that at a younger age that I could apply now, you know, which I've done that stuff now, but I had to learn on my own. So yeah, I guess if you want a traditional job, a doctor, you got to go to school for a long time. You absolutely have to. You just can't become a doctor. But you know, if you have this little free spirit that you want to go and to be a full-time YouTuber, you know, getting 100,000 views per video, do you need a college education? Not necessarily.
Right.
You know, nowadays, this is why I started off with this one, because the big debate is, you know, is college a waste of money? A lot of people are coming out of school with, you know, heavy student loans.
Yeah, right.
And, you know, they're getting paid. And in fact, I've seen this now, that there are a lot of people that have gone for jobs, and the job said, you're too overqualified.
Yeah.
We can't pay you that. You're getting punished for having an awesome background, a 4-year degree, but with the economy being the way it is still, a lot of companies would much rather try to hire someone with a little less experience for less pay.
Yeah.
So that kind of backfires on you. So I think it depends on what your situation is. But us being in entrepreneurship right now, we had a great time in college. I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm kind of 50-50 on this.
Yeah, I definitely was one of those guys that probably had to get a little bit of partying and rage out of my system.
I think it served
slightly.
its purpose, like
yeah,
what you said.
It definitely served its purpose for me personally. It helped me grow. It helped me communicate. It helped me, you know, build lifelong relationships with people. But, you know, I guess if I could think back, knowing what I know now, I wouldn't have gone.
And you know what I think of, and this is kind of going a little bit deeper on this point, is I honestly think, and this is funny how the way things work out, is we were introduced to each other through Ed, right?
Yeah.
Now, I would not have known Ed unless I went to Heidelberg.
Right.
He would have never said, hey, there's another Heidelberg dude that you should meet.
Dudes,
you know? So, like, isn't that weird how that connects it together? We probably wouldn't be doing a podcast or doing anything together because Ed wouldn't know who I was, and he wouldn't have been inclined to try to make the connection between us
Right.
two. So when I look at it from, gosh, some things just kind of happen. It's how the universe happens. I look at that and I'm like, damn, maybe Heidelberg did serve its purpose.
Well, you know, and that's a great point that you just made. Honestly, like, what we need to be teaching these kids in school is how to navigate, network, build good relationships like that. And think about this, like maybe you have an idea and you're in the business or communications program. I should have gone over to someone in the engineering program and been like, you know, computer stuff, like I have some ideas, let's get together and create business. Dude, that could be I think college can be such an amazing incubator or accelerator for students that want to like build businesses, because think about it, like you have freedom and resources and mentors and people all around you that can help you. In the real world, like you don't get that unless like you seek it out or you're working for a company or you have to really, it's a lot harder. But like nowadays at college, like and just because I'm in the ed tech space and I work with universities, dude, they have so many resources now where you can get funding for your business if you're in school. Like you can't just get free funding when you're out in the real world trying to create something. So so I think schools are eventually learning that, hey, look, we can be great incubators for businesses and entrepreneurs, but the student, it's up to you as a student to navigate and work that path rather than drink a shitload of Natty Light like I did.
I was thinking way too textbook and kind of box thinking. I wasn't thinking of networking in college or anything like that.
No, I was
but
like,
it's
who's
interesting.
playing, who's my beer pong partner tonight?
Exactly, it being at a small school too. But it's interesting now because with InspireLink, which is your company, you are bridging that gap, and these companies or the universities are starting to implement more of these entrepreneurship programs because they're starting to realize what we're saying on this very first point.
Exactly.
Is we need to bring more value, like real world practice. So I think that was worth starting off with for sure. Because I put down what to think versus how to think. I think right now a lot of colleges are trying to teach you what to think. Yeah. When they should be teaching you how to think. I don't want to be taught what to think. I want to think what I want to think on my own, what I come up with, which is, the bread and butter behind being an entrepreneur is your unique ideas, which they need to teach you how to think creatively and outside the box.
Yeah, if you want to be a great employee, go to college, like really, because but there's so many people now that are entrepreneurs or great employees and they work for 5-6 years with a great company, and then they go out and start their own thing.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of benefits, but it really comes down to you as the person. Like, are you doing what you need to do to get ahead and crush it and use all the resources around you? Whether you go to school or you don't go to school, are you using your resources and networks effectively to leverage what you want in life?
Yeah.
Period. So to me, it's
awesome
like,
point.
go if you want to go, but hey, look, if you don't, know what to do.
Yeah, this is a decision that you're going to have to make. So the second point, start a business at a very young age, or do you wait until you get closer to your 20s or maybe even your 30s, 40s, and 50s? Like, the reason why I think this is kind of a good one is because I saw something online, and there was a young kid outside Cleveland, actually, and he saved up his money, and he built a tiny little trailer and put a little push lawnmower on the end of it, and he attached it to the back of his bicycle. And in the summer, he bikes around to all the neighbors and mows their lawn, mows their lawn. A true entrepreneur as a young kid. Now, is he going to do that for the rest of his life? Probably not, but that will lead into bigger and better things down the road. So, I don't know. Start a business at a very young age, or do you wait till you get closer to your 20s to really realize more what you want to get into?
Yeah, I think that there's two ways to look at it. One, a statistic is actually more people in their 50s and 60s are starting businesses over people in their 20s because of time, money, resources, experience, things of that nature. It does take money, it takes a lot of time, and it does take resources. So you have to have those things, and at a very young age, you may not have that. I think if you're like a prodigy or you are very set on your idea, I would say start it immediately and fail fast. But I would always tell people to go out and get a little bit more experience before you just go and do, or, you know, because I think it's good to go and do and fail and learn along the way. But man, there's a lot to be said when you're young to do an apprenticeship or an internship with something that you want to do. Learn the ins and outs of the business, become an expert, master it, find the inefficiencies with it, and then go start your business when you have a little bit more time, money, resources. You know, I mean, hey, look, if you start at 18 or 17 in a business apprentice, go ahead, start your business at 20-something years old. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, I see, again, it's a decision, but my personal advice is get as much experience as possible in the field that I want so I can learn about that industry, and then I'd go ahead and start my business. That's what I would do.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that you brought up the time, money, resources, because it's true. Like, you need money. You know what I mean? I mean, these are real things, and a lot of people don't come across money until, you know, they are in their 40s and 50s. But before we move to the next point, Andy Frisilla said that him and his current business partner, which is his best friend from his childhood, to start their first supplement store, they had their own little business that they were painting the stripes on the parking lots, like in the St. Louis area. And they saved up about 12 grand together, and they started their first brick and mortar supplement shop. They sold $7 worth of supplements on the very first day, and they remember the guy's first name. So they were doing a lot of different things to make that next move, you know what I mean? They kind of scraped their pennies together. So just a little side story. All right, the next point. Do you want to read this one?
Yeah, materialistic possessions as wealth accumulates, or basic living. So, go into this, Mike. I think that, you know, this is something you and I kind of always talk about.
This one is kind of it's a sensitive one, because a lot of people say not to be motivated by materialistic possessions. Like, even though you have the money to buy them, why would you? You know, but the point of this is, for me specifically, is I am motivated by different things than the next man next to me or the next woman. You're motivated by different things. Some of our motivations come from the same place, but I'm not here to judge anyone by what they're motivated off of. If you're motivated off of buying a 10-bedroom home, that's awesome. If that's going to get you to your goals by focusing on that and using that as leverage to increase your motivation, by all means. I'm not here to tell you that's right or wrong. Like, I am motivated by materialistic things. I want all that stuff. I've always wanted to have a Lamborghini, the big house, all those different things. I don't think that's wrong. I quote Andy Frisilla all the time, because I'm motivated by a lot of the same things he is. And he says in his words that it's completely fucked up for someone else to tell you what you should be motivated by. Like, who do you think you are telling me what my motivation is going to come from? You know,
Right.
So I am motivated by materialistic possessions. But another point I wanted to make on this is I've always envisioned myself being very successful in being able to share that with the people in my life and seeing the smiles on their faces. Like, let's say I had a big yacht, for example. Knowing my mom and dad and you and Therese and all my close family and friends are out there,
yeah.
and we are building memories. We're out in the Gulf of Mexico, music's playing, we're drinking beer, and we look at each other and say, dude, we worked for this, man. It's not that we deserved it, but we stuck to it. We wanted it. And now look at how many people are creating awesome memories that a lot of people don't get to live. And it's because I focused on what I was motivated off of. So I don't think it's selfish.
No, it's
not.
I mean, well, and you bring up the best point right there was just like, that's, you know, I think it's so important, and like we want to make an impact, and that's how we both like think about things. And the best way for Mike and I to make an impact is to become as wealthy and successful as possible. That's it.
I agree.
We have got to make a ton of money. We have got to do all the things because, like, at the end of the day, like, yeah, I would love to go to a charity event, throw up my paddle for like a 10 grand like trip or like 50 grand, knowing it goes back to charity, but also be able to create those memories.
Exactly, and you get it's a win-win.
It is a win-win.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, and I think that people say, oh, like you just like material things, and when there's negativity around that, that's bullshit, man. Look, the universe wants you to have anything that you ever want in your life, anything you want. And you need to put it out there, and you need to go for that. And it doesn't matter what anybody else says or what anybody else thinks. You have to be motivated by the things that you care about, that you want. So who cares what other people say? If somebody else is motivated by the basic life, they want to just chill, they want to go live in a frickin' teepee and do nothing else, hey, that's freaking awesome. Go do
whatever
that.
makes them
But you know
happy.
what? Like, stop the judging. Who cares what people want? If I say every single day that I want a freaking Lamborghini, like, and you call me materialistic, go screw yourself, because you know what? Like, that's something that gets me excited, that's going to make me work harder, to make more of an impact, to create more jobs, to help more people, period.
Right, and that's what Andy Frisella said. He said if he would have listened to everyone else tell him that he shouldn't be motivated by this or motivated by that, he goes, flat out, over 100 people wouldn't have a job right now.
Yeah, exactly.
He says, I've provided jobs for people. He goes, I've donated thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars to build baseball fields in his hometown, to give back to his schools, stuff like that. Like, you know, it's one thing to have money. It's another thing to have it and use it for a lot of good causes and building a lot of memories and impacting people positively, because you can do that with money.
Yeah.
You can do that with materialistic possessions. You can do it without too, but I would prefer to do it with materialistic possessions.
Yeah, and that's our point of view. Like, and honestly, to, you know, really, I live very basic in like my daily life. Like, I'm not a fashionista. Like, if you guys have seen me,
tune into our last 46 podcasts. Neither of us know how to dress.
I have 20 V-necks in different colors and like 4 pairs of shorts, and that's it.
And Brian and I have the same V-necks from Target, so we have to make sure we don't wear the same one.
We almost did. We almost made
on the
that
same
mistake.
podcast.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of things where I do sacrifice the, you know, the big, like, even if I was super rich, I'd still probably buy my V-necks from Target.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why go spend $100?
It's like Warren Buffett.
Dude, I can't.
Goes to McDonald's and still gets his $3-4 breakfast every morning.
Yeah, dude, what the hell? He's worth billions. So that's what I'm saying. I think there's a balance. Like, there's things that some people may say, man, I want the biggest, best closet and sneakers. I'm just like, give me my Chucks with a hole in them and my raggedy T-shirt and my shorts, and I'm good. But I'll be sitting on a yacht.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that it's just what you value, what you want, and what you're motivated by. And so I think there is a healthy balance between like that basic side of living, where you're just living to your means and living what you can, and then going after or living in that luxurious lifestyle that you want. Because I don't care who you are. If you're the person living in the teepee, there's something luxurious that you want. I guarantee
Right,
it.
yeah.
Don't lie to me. Don't
You might be
BS
in that
it.
teepee with a $50,000 watch.
That's
or something.
exactly right. Yeah, don't lie to me here.
But
So,
the point of this is choose the life that you want, basic or luxurious, and no one else is going to define that for you.
Yeah.
That's your choice and your choice only. So the next topic is
This is
kind of going off, but this made me kind of think about just my upbringing.
Yeah.
Is involve your kids in sports or no sports as they grow up. Like, are there advantages to either of them?
Yeah, now that I have a kid, and as somebody who grew up playing sports 24/7, nonstop, I don't see any. All right, I'll be controversial. Really, I mean, I'm just going to be honest. Like, put your kids in sports. And I think you're silly as hell to not put your kid in sports.
I agree.
Because I think it says here they're going to learn discipline, teamwork, adversity, camaraderie. They're going to learn friendships. They're going to learn how to lose. They're going to learn how to win. They're going to learn how to I think that there's so many good things about being in sports. I believe in team sports. Even if your kid wants to play golf or some of those individual sports, which are great, I think it can create egotistical people, to be honest with you. Just look at some of these people that play some of those individual sports. I'm just saying, Tiger Woods. I believe so much in team sports and team aspects. I think that as they grow up, they should at least play 1 or 2 team sports just to know how to deal with people and relationships. That's my take on that.
Yeah, and I was brought up, my parents did a great job of exposing us 3 boys, my 2 older brothers and I, to every sport possible. They put us into it, introduced the sport to us, and then allowed us to choose. So growing up, I played basketball, I biddy wrestled for a little while.
Yep,
and I was really good at biddy wrestling, but then I broke both my arms, one arm one year and the next arm the following year. I went to basketball, I went to basketball, I played football, I played rollerblade hockey, I did it all. But I ended up choosing basketball. But it taught me, discipline. I used to go out and shoot my free throws. No one told me to go out there. My mom and dad would be like, why are you going outside? I'm like, well, I want to get my 100 free throws in, So it taught me discipline, that what you learn in sports, I think, as a kid, is it really carries over into things in life in general. I didn't always want to go out and shoot those free throws, but I knew it was something that I had to do. So it's like if you only practiced and you only worked and you only did whatever you wanted to do, only when you wanted to do it, then you really wouldn't ever increase your chances of truly becoming a winner or a champion. So again, I'm on board with you. I firmly believe in trying to put your kids in sports and exposing that. And you know what? If they choose to be in the band or dance or whatever, perfectly fine. Like if I have a daughter someday and she wants to be, in the band or something like that, you better freaking dot the I for the Ohio State marching band. I'm serious. You better be the freaking best band member there is on planet Earth. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care what you do. Just, I want you to be active, and I want you to learn the discipline and the work ethic that's involved in it.
I agree. And like, hey, look, I guess I'll take I'm not going to take my statement back, but I'm going to say that if my kid chooses down the road that he wants to go collect rocks or something for a living, or do something where he doesn't want to do team sports, I got to support that in every aspect that I can. Yeah. But he better be the best damn rock collector.
You know what I mean? He better open up a museum and have some of the most exotic rocks from around the world.
But I think
the point is try to excel.
You're going to need people skills. And I think that's what early on sports do. So even if he opens this museum, he's got to learn how to talk to people and work with people and sell his whatever it is. So Colin, please, I love you, my son. Do not be a rock collector.
Colin, when you get old enough to watch this and listen to this, we love you, we support you, but you don't have a choice what you're going to do with your life, because Daddy already determined that for you, okay? And we've said it here on episode 47 of the Unstoppable Pursuit podcast.
The Olympics, we're training for the Olympics as soon as possible.
So I want to read this next one because I'm interested personally from me to hear what you have to say about this, because this is kind of interesting with nowadays with the internet, the World Wide Web. In e-commerce. So do you start a brick and mortar business, or do you start a strictly online business, or do you do both, and why?
Man, that's such an interesting question, and I'm not 100% sure I have the best answer for this. And again, we don't claim to be experts. So,
no, these are simply opinions.
this is our podcast, so we say whatever the hell we want to say. I think personally, starting out as lean as possible. So that means doing it online. And if that means you're a supplement company or actual physical product, like First Form or something, I think it's okay to go into the brick and mortar. But I think what it's better is to prove your concept online in any way, shape, or form that you can. And then if it calls for some type of brick or mortar store, like Apple stores, they could have retailed the iPhone in any store. They sold it online, but then they opened the Apple store, but they sort of backed into it. I think that there's ways you can do that if your product becomes big enough, or if you really have created such a buzz where they actually create stores. I think they do that sometimes now, just as oh, cool, there's an actual store for this.
They're like, oh, I guess we'll start a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
I mean, what's it going to hurt?
To me, no. I mean, I think for your MVP, for your minimum viable product, for your lean startup, you need to do it and test it online. Especially because brick and mortar is going to be expensive. I would just be lean and mean as early as possible, test, validate, and then back into a brick and mortar if that's the idea of it. I mean, if you're starting a food business, yes, you need start with a food truck. Start with renting some space, or show up at the farmer's market and do stuff that way. But I would definitely I would do everything online.
Yeah, I think it does. If you have a food business like that, you need to cook that food in person. You have a food truck, you need to show up.
Don't send me your my Chipotle from Amazon.
I got a drone dropping off my burrito.
5 hours later.
Yeah, exactly. It's one big blob. Yeah, it depends, but nowadays with the e-commerce, like the Movement Watch company, the company that makes Movement watches, I'm pretty sure they did everything online. And was just shipping out watches. I don't even think they really need a store. They probably have a headquarters of where the guys work, but other than that,
here's a good example. My friend who runs the Vintage Gentleman. It's it's pretty much anything that vintage cool wooden rings, leather goods, wallets, whiskey, decanters, all this stuff. Now this could be a physical, this is some kind of manly, but I also could see me smoking a pipe and reading a book and, anyway.
Brian, this is your submission for the Dos Equis, most interesting man in the world. And hit it.
I don't always drink beer, but okay. But I could see that being a store. You know what I mean? Like a brick and mortar thing where I go in there, I could touch the decanter and feel, but no, he did it in the way where he created a Shopify site, and he drop shipped everything. So that means when you drop ship something, you don't have any inventory. You are partnering with stores. You're basically like an affiliate or referral. Okay, So you say, I want to buy this decanter from this site. So when they cookie it, they go to that store gets the order and ships it to them, and then they pay you. So it's kind of a unique, interesting way. If you want to start a brick and mortar store, you may want to start online in that capacity and use social as your spokes and things. But it's a good way for you to kind of test if a brick and mortar, let's say that idea really took off and people were like, man, I would love for there to be a store. Maybe he plops that right down the middle of Tennessee, right in front of all these whiskey distilleries, and people can go in. It's just a small shop, and he created brick and mortar, but he proved it online. Enough people were buying from him. He had to buy no product, no overhead, literally just grew an Instagram page and drove traffic and crushed it.
This is interesting, yeah.
So that's
interesting concept, backing into a brick and mortar, like what you said, especially with the, social media is free now, so of course, you could leverage your exposure on social media and kind of back into it. So that's interesting.
All right. Last one on here. All right, work 9 to 5 job with a side hustle, or dive right into entrepreneurship 100%. I think a lot of people deal with this.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of people deal with this more than what they actually admit, because for me, I've always had to work a real job and do the entrepreneurship thing on the side. At one point in time, I fully went into entrepreneurship, and it didn't work out exactly as planned, and I had to go back to a real job again. I wrote down in here, it depends on your current situation, your finances. Do you have family, kids, expenses? What are your expenses and bills? Is it practical or no for your situation? I think that's something that people need to ask themselves. If you have 2 kids already, and a third on the way, your wife's pregnant, you guys need the health insurance, your company has great health insurance, it would probably be wise to stick with your job, keep your salary, and keep going with your side hustle. I think the side hustle is a big, big deal. I think that it'd be interesting to see what the statistics are on people that have a real job with a side hustle, because I think even Gary Vaynerchuk maybe said to do a side hustle. Side hustle the shit out of it so that eventually you can go, because a lot of people, again, time, resources, money, they don't have that. They need to kind of be a little bit more practical, side hustle, and then try to get that side hustle to a point where you can go full blow.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I kind of created this little teeter-totter on my piece of paper here. So there's a time and a place for all of this, and I never say anything is the right time. I hate when people say, well, it's just not the right time. But here's what you got to do. If you really believe in something and have a side hustle, you need to be double down and be working the hell out of that thing when you can. I just talked to my brother. He's building an app right now on the side, but he's full-time in the insurance business. Mm-hmm. But he's also building an app, and I said, when do you do this? He goes, dude, from freaking 6, 7 o'clock till 12 o'clock at night. Yeah. I am side hustling the hell out of this. So he's waiting at this point like this. So his job is here, and his side hustle's up here. His job is weighing everything down. He's paying the bills. He's paying for his family. But until the side hustle takes over, and eventually he's either making enough money or he's making more money, dude, it's easier to slide off that job, go right in your side hustle, and go crush it. So I would definitely teeter-totter that, and I think everybody needs a side hustle. I really, really do. In this day and age, it is so damn easy to start a business. Yeah. You should have a side hustle. I don't care what it is. I know, there's a receptionist here at the office that I work in, and she goes, I love photography. I said, what do you do on the weekends? You should be making a few $100 extra bucks, side hustling your photography.
And it's your passion.
Yeah, and she loves doing it. So I'm like, dude, why don't you just go do this, and here's what you should do, blah, blah. So I think she's going to actually do it. I hope she actually does it.
Yeah.
So I really think that in this day and age, with how millennials move from job to job, I actually saw a statistic from CNN Money the other day that said before you're 32, I think the average person has 5 jobs or something like that. I might be wrong on that, but it was 4 or 5 jobs by the time they're 32. So that means you are job hopping. So why not just get something steady and keep moving in that, and side hustle the shit out of stuff. Stop job hopping. It's fine if you're just not loving it, but I would have your own thing, your personal own thing on the side where you're making money or doing something fun. And then maybe by the time you're 32, you're not jumping from another job, your 6th job, you're diving into your own business.
Right. I think the key word is fun too, because majority of the people are probably not in the dream job of their life. So the side hustle is really an outlet for them. It's fun, it's motivating, it's a release for them. It keeps them sane while they work that real job that they actually don't hate, or that they don't love and that they hate. So it kind of balances it out. So I think the side hustle is a big deal. I think it's very important.
This is a side hustle.
And that's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm saying. This is a side hustle for us, that we love doing this brand and this podcast, and it's our outlet, and it helps just kind of blow off steam, so to speak, and this is fun. You know what I mean? And so really, that's interesting you said that, because if I met someone and they did not have a side hustle, I would be like, are you serious?
Yeah, I would
say,
about that.
What do you do? The chance, 9 times out of 10, you probably don't like your job right now, right? So it's just the truth, because a lot of people aren't in a job that they love. So I would say, you're not side hustling. I'm surprised by that. What do you love to do? And then they would say, boom, right there, monetize it.
Yeah. I love oh, I love to play music. Okay, well, why don't you create a course on that instrument and put it online and teach people how to play guitar or something? You know what I mean? Like, you know, this is, I always tell people say, what do you know, what's the unstoppable pursuit? And I always say, hey, I could either be playing co-ed soccer right now or be building a side hustle podcast business brand. I'd rather do this. Like, this is my passion now. This is what I love to do. I love podcasting. I love this building this brand. This is a really fun side hustle for me, and I'm not going to give that up. So I think it's just something that everybody needs to like look into themselves and say, what do you love to do? Are you passionate about it? And you should be building that side hustle instead of watching The Bachelorette, which, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't say that.
Guilty pleasure.
Guilty. I love that show. But anyway, hit us up, Chris Harrison.
Yes.
We'd love for you to be on the podcast. But yeah, that's what. But instead of doing some other things, watching TV, playing, you know, sports, you're not going to be a frickin' pro. Go into that. Find that other passion.
I already know. I already know what the challenge is going to be.
Yeah.
Start a side hustle.
Dude.
You know what I mean?
I just changed my challenge. Mike's doing the challenges today. I'm doing the health tip.
That's funny.
That's it. So the challenge today is to start your side hustle. Start doing it. Take action on it. And this episode is called Decisions. Make the decision to start your side hustle today. Find out what it is. I guarantee you can monetize it in any way, shape, or form. We already gave you one way. You can drop ship things, create a website, drive traffic, blah, blah, blah. And if you don't know how to do it, well, spend some freaking time on it. So,
hey, and you know what? You can get 500 business cards for $10 on Vistaprint.com.
Yeah. It's like, so you can build a website for free.
A company logo for $5 from Fiverr.com.
Yeah. I mean, we'll give you every resource known to man. If you guys want to start a side hustle, stop the excuses on how expensive it is and why you can't do it. Mike and I will give you every reason to do it. So start looking at the glass, half full and get out there and make it happen.
Right on. So the health tip is about diabetes. Obviously, that's a big issue that we're dealing with in America. Type 2 diabetes is something that, type 1, you're born with it. But type 2 is something you acquire by having a higher body weight, having higher blood sugar. So it says type 2 diabetes is a choice. We have the power to determine the levels of physical activity we have on a daily basis as well as the foods we are consuming. Even if type 2 diabetes runs in your family, it does not mean you are going to have it. So most people are kind of confused about type 2 diabetes when you're having trouble with your blood sugar. But typically people want to know on their blood work what their numbers should be like. And really, when you go and get your blood work done with the doctor, when you are fasting for 8 to 10, maybe 12 hours, you would like your blood sugar to be under 100. That is the goal. So next time you get your blood work done, check that out. You want to be under 100 for fasting blood sugar, okay? But that's just a snapshot of what your blood sugar is. Your A1C, hemoglobin A1C, that needs to be less than 5.7. Now, as I said, the fasting blood sugar under 100, that's just a snapshot. That just shows me what Brian's blood sugar is right now, okay? That can go up or down. If you were not fasting, you had a Pepsi, it'd jump over 100, okay? Now, the A1C, people would try to argue with me, and they'd be like, oh, well, I wasn't fasting. Well, the A1C is not a fasting test. The A1C is the doctor, they actually backtrack your blood. They can look at your blood and backtrack that number for 3 months leading up to the date. So the A1C shows me over a length of time what your blood sugar is in your body. So as a personal trainer, I would say, oh, that's great, your blood sugar in this moment, fasting, is lower and it's what it needs to be, but your A1C is at 5.8. That tells me that for the last 3 months, your blood sugar actually was kind of running a little bit higher consistently. So doctors would say, you can't argue with me on the A1C. If that A1C is a little bit higher, then you need to get that blood sugar down. You need a lifestyle change, you need more exercise, less carbohydrates, less sugar in your blood. People would try to argue with me and be like, oh, I had a cheeseburger, that's why my A1C was high. No, well, you could have had 20 cheeseburgers and your A1C would stay the same because it's an average of 3 months. So I just wanted to go a little bit into the numbers on your blood sugar. Aim for under 100 on fasting. Try to get your A1C hemoglobin under 5.7.
I love it, I love it, I love it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hey, check out our website and then go to challenges on the website on June 28th. We are launching our very first Unstoppable Challenge. This is our call to action. You need to check that out. And then subscribe to our newsletter because we give you great, awesome, badass information like that every single Monday in your inbox. So check it out. Start your side hustle. Get healthy. We appreciate you. We love you. And we hope you all crush it. I was going to say something else, but I started blanking out.
It's
so.
all right.
Anyway, we'll see you all on the next episode.